Okay, I'm gonna say something pretty obvious, but stay with me. It's what you don't see that makes the Invisible Man great. I know it sounds like I'm saying, the Invisible Man is great because he's invisible. And you know what, actually, on one level, that is why the movie works. The conceit of this movie allows director Leigh Whannell to combine dramatic irony, dread, and shock. Most horror movies are trying to scare you by either showing you something the character can't see, thus building dread and anticipation, or by shocking you, revealing a threat suddenly without any build-up. The Invisible Man has the unique ability to do both simultaneously. As a viewer, I know Adrian, the Invisible Man, is in the room. I watch in dread as the camera lingers on empty space or when a bedsheet starts to move. I know something Cecilia, Elizabeth Moss, doesn't know. And yet I'm still completely shocked when the action happens because I can't see Adrian. Each punch and slice of a knife is like a micro jump scare. But, with like actual payoff. It doesn't hurt that Whannell is able to film the action in a way as to allow the full geography of a scene to be understood. When the antagonist is invisible, it's important to see as much of the setting as possible to allow our eyes to search the screen in anticipation. And all of these decisions will result in you jumping out of your seat. But that's not what I'm referring to when I say it's what you don't see that makes the movie work. I'm talking about story. To explain, let's imagine the opening was written by someone else, a less experienced writer. I would, or a novice writer, would have begun the film with a scene depicting Adrian's abuse, a display of physical or verbal violence. This would show the audience why Cecilia is visibly shaken at the mere mention of his name. We could see what kind of monster Adrian has been in the past. But Whannell doesn't do this. Here's what he told The Hollywood Reporter. There almost seemed to be this need or a request for that scene of, let's spend 5 minutes with him before she escapes. And I just didn't want to write that scene where it's like, you call these dishes clean? I'm never going to be able to write a scene that will make Adrian as scary as the audience can make him. In my mind, I hope that Cecilia's reactions and the way she was acting told you everything you needed to know. There's that popular saying about not showing the monster in horror movies, which this movie follows, yet this philosophy applies to more than just the physical presence of the monster. It also applies to the construction of the story. Just as in Jaws, where the withholding of the shark makes it more menacing in our mind, withholding Adrian's abuse allows the audience to imagine the scariest, mentally abusive boyfriend possible, which in turn allows Whannell to forgo writing a potentially contrived scene. It's this kind of filmmaking, where the director trusts and allows the audience to participate, that creates some of the most effective results. The Invisible Man is frightening because we can't see him. Duh. But Adrian's abuse is just as frightening for the same reason. All we can see, and all we need, is the terror in Elizabeth Moss's eyes. And if you think all that is impressive, notice how this lack of visibility affects the themes of the film. What makes this movie great for me is how Whannell has forced us to interact with Cecilia in the same way we would in reality. When a woman comes forward with a testimony about abuse, oftentimes all we have is her word. We never saw what she experienced. By filming around Adrian's abusive behavior, we are placed in the same shoes as Cecilia's friends and family. We have only the power and vulnerability of her testimony to guide us. Like all great genre stories, sci-fi, horror, thrillers, The Invisible Man holds a mirror up to the audience. The horror on screen is actually just the horror of our own world. Sure, there aren't any dudes in teched-up invisibility suits running around, but would we even know if there were? But stories like The Invisible Man, where men abuse women and then play the victim, happen all around us, and we are put in positions to believe what we don't see. And this is what, in my mind, the ending is trying to do. Spoilers. By the climax, Whannell has once again removed our objectivity as an audience. We don't know 100% who was in the suit at what time. We're not sure, but Cecilia is. Winnell doesn't resolve the tension easily because these sorts of abuses aren't resolved easily in life outside of the theater. Our discomfort and lack of information surrounding Cecilia's victory is the point. The movie leaves us with this question: will you trust what you don't see?